And we're live. So, all right, I'm going to go quick. 94, day 94. I was supposed to get up this morning and ride with Coach at the lab, and I overslept. And he rode like some crazy numbers, and I met him in a coffee shop afterwards, and it was a nice little meeting. We discussed the future of crushing iron. We discussed our really cool podcast with Ken Hammond. Did you check that out? It's the Ironman 70.3 Ohio preview, and it went really well. It was one of our best cast days in a long time. So people are digging it. I hope everybody's getting ready for Muncie. I wish I could go to that, but I have a race next weekend, the Olympic here in town, and then I'm going to Ohio to watch Coach Robbie, and I think we have maybe a dozen or so athletes up there, and it is going to be awesome. I'm stoked about coming to Ohio. Delaware, Ohio, Ohio Wesleyan, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it right. I'm going to get a video and all that stuff. So anyway, I didn't go to the lab to meet Coach, but I did go to have coffee, and then I did a bunch of other stuff, and then I hit the lab tonight. And man, I did another weird thing. I swear, it's about 3 miles to the lab from my house, and I go down this little greenway, and on the way, I tend to make up my workouts. And today I was going to do sort of an Olympic effort, 1 hour, all on, and build. So like every 15 minutes I was going to, but it was weird because like what I do instead of have a power meter, I kind of do stuff because the lab is a flat, consistent surface with wind in your face one way and at your back the other. So it's a big oval. And then so I go by speed, and I try to work my internal power meter like effort wise. So I'm going maybe a couple 2 to 3 miles an hour slower into the wind, and then trying to keep the intensity with it just to stay steady. So tonight I did this like I started at X miles an hour, and then over the 15-minute period I raised it up to another half mile an hour and half mile an hour. So I tried to negative split the whole thing, and it was fairly successful. I had a little trouble at the end because I think, when you're trying to build an average speed, it gets a little trickier the longer you're out there, obviously. So I didn't have enough time really to hit my top end, but I felt pretty good about the ride and felt pretty strong at the end. So I think I'm definitely ready for this Olympic. I've been contemplating doing Ohio the weekend after. If I do make that decision, I don't know how hard I will race and run at this Olympic. It's mainly the running thing. I'll probably ride hard and swim, as good as I can, whatever that means. But yeah, I'm going to let's see, tomorrow I'm going to try and swim. I'm swimming every other day. And that's just, for me, is just a confidence, consistency factor. Nothing too structured yet. I'm just putting in 40 to 50 minutes or something like that each time, building the strength, building the lats. Can you see? My lats are huge. And who's out there watching this? Anybody? Oh, Phil Jones, are you out there, buddy? It's almost Saturday night. You know what that means. Thanks for the compliment on the Ohio podcast. We do have a chat room here. You're more than welcome to ask me questions. This is very informal, as you see. I was just talking to my buddy about going to Wisconsin. We're going to be up there Thursday. He's racing, staying right on the square. That's where it needs to be. Another great podcast. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it, Earl. And hopefully it's a sign of more great podcasts to come. And, we do the guest thing once in a while, which I think is cool. as long as it, helps people and it's interesting. And that one definitely was. It was certainly interesting to hear what's going on behind the Ironman wall. Cool people that we're meeting all the time, actually from Ironman. I mean, it's like really been, I don't know. They get a lot of, people tend to, in the past, even I've had criticism. It's just easy to be negative, but man, they really do tremendous races. And, I know they're a business and they make a lot of money and what have you, but God, if you do Ironman, it's just incredible what they go through to put that on. And volunteers or not, or whatever, you can say whatever you want, but those races are solid. And there's something about it, for me anyway, I get like another sort of level of amped up. And I think it has a lot to do with just, the energy around it. And so obviously I'm doing Louisville. That's what this whole thing is about. And this weekend I'm going to ride the trace. I'm going to try and, this is what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and just put a nice, steady, easy-ish 3-hour ride in on Natchez Trace on the hills. Sunday, I'm going to try and get a kind of a decent, longer run, not long, but maybe like 8 miles or something like that. I'm shooting at this Olympics, so I don't want to, I'm trying to do a mini taper, but I'm going to basically train right through it, unless I decide to do Ohio, which could be a whole nother ball of wax. But I'm still looking at Louisville. So, the Olympic and Ohio, they're coming on the way, and I'm not trying to win those or do anything crazy. I want to do well at Louisville. And so I'll take races as they come, but I'm excited to race. Actually, it'll be kind of cool to get out there and do the Olympic. It's awesome right downtown Nashville. And it'll be hot probably, which is a nice little tester. So let me ask you guys, I was out walking. Is this weird? Like I was driving to have my car checked out, and I drove by this woman on the side of the road, and she was walking a dog that looked exactly like my dog. Like, I know that's, people say that, but this was like really incredible. The walk, everything, it looked just, I thought it was my dog. And I was like, I had a connection there. And I thought about actually turning around and going to say, hey, I got a dog like that. But thankfully I didn't, because that's probably pretty weird, right? Phil, you know about stuff like this. Oh, I've got a few more things here. Love the podcast. Keep up the slow burn every day, right? Yeah, that's exactly. 58 days until Wisconsin. Jack. No wonder, man, that's only 58 days. That's not that far, man. How you feeling about that? I'm glad, Elizabeth, thank you. You look forward to these. I do. I mean, these are what they are. I'm just doing this, I guess, maybe to document it. I'm not really doing anything crazy, as we all know, just sort of like being consistent. And I can tell there's something to this. And we had our last podcast was about consistency, the one before this last one. And, I've been doing this this will be my 6th year. I'm 6th Ironman in October straight. So, I'm 54, racing up. But I got to tell you that, you always have these things and whatever, but it really does just come down to consistency. I mean, even if you're not feeling like doing some, interval run or whatever, just go out and run 3 miles, and who knows, by the time you get 2 miles in, you might be like, yeah, this could happen. That's how it goes for me almost every single day. It's almost like the hardest thing definitely is putting on your shoes and getting to the gym and getting to the pool. Jesus. I mean, that's why I'm going every other day, because it's like, it's a habit. And the more I swim, even if it's 1,000 meters, I just get in that pool, because the one time, my best swim ever at Ironman was Louisville. And I remember, and I've talked about this on the podcast, but it was leading up to that race. It was my first non-wetsuit Ironman swim, and it kind of scared it had me a little bit nervous. You know, it was in the summer, then it was in August, so it was 100 degrees. But I swam almost every day for 2 weeks leading up to that race, and it was, yeah, you know, I kind of found my stroke and everything, but what I found more than anything was just that feeling of jumping in the water just became real familiar and real relaxing, and it wasn't like it didn't get, I didn't get any kind of anxiety that day. And I just think the frequency and the consistency of anything, you know, it's like getting on a bike, and the longer you try and spread it out, you know, like it's like get out there and spin. If you don't feel like doing anything, and just spin for an hour and just see how you feel, because you'll warm up, you know, your body will take you different places. All right, Jack, this is your first full. Training has been going since end of last September, still building. Geez. You got to be ready, man. I know it's a lot of training. That's kind of what I did for my first one up there as well. We quote unquote started after around September, but then we really didn't hit it until January, and then we hit it pretty hard. And I think, you know, your first one, and I don't know what else you've done, but yeah, I mean, if you've never really gotten endurance background or base, it's just going to take a while. And hopefully, you know, by the time that race comes around in 58 short days, you'll be ready. But yeah, we're staying there, man. I'm staying right on the square. I love it. I'll be there Thursday through Monday, and maybe, you know, you never know with me. But we'll definitely, you know, be watching for you, buddy. Anyway, I'm just sort of rambling, but what the heck? What the heck? The other, let's see, I rode in the lab. I don't know. I'm going to try and hit the lake tomorrow, but I doubt if I'll do it. It's such a drive, 30 minutes. But I love the lake. Oh, man, this is what I figured out, too, about swimming. I don't know if you guys ever deal with this, but, like, I swear I am majorly affected by chlorine sometimes. And so I've been swimming at the East Nashville Y here, and they have an outdoor pool, and they have a lane, a lap lane. So I've been in that, and you can obviously tell the water is not as clean, and there's people, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, you might really want to hang around in this water, but it's outside, and that chlorine evaporates, I think, a little bit more or something, and plus the rain. So it's just not as intense. But then yesterday I went down and did that 2000 at the downtown Y, and I took a nice, like, soapy shower and everything, and took my time. But like when I get home, man, I get like, I feel weird. And then last night I couldn't sleep, and I had all this, like, I can't even explain it. It's just like sort of like something's in your body, and it's not, you know, because, you know, the skin, your biggest organ is your skin, right? And all of a sudden there's chlorine, all that, because I can smell it last night when I was laying in bed, so I know it was there. And I just hate chlorine, man. I mean, I feel good in the water. It doesn't bother me while I'm swimming, but then I feel like it just seeps into my pores and wreaks havoc. Couldn't sleep. I have a hard time sleeping anyway, but I'm working on it, and we'll see. All right. Well, that seems like about it. There was a nice crowd tonight. I appreciate you guys coming in here. I feel like I should do these in the morning while people are at work, because I have learned that most people that work in offices, and I was one of them, and I can attest to this, really work about 20 to 40% of the time. And then there's 60% of the time you're kind of acting like you're working. And that's stressful, man, to act like you're working. But anyway, so I guess my point is that people have time to watch these during the morning while at work or whatever. But maybe some of you guys are in Australia. I don't know. Anyway, so enough of that. Thanks for coming by, and keep an eye out for the podcast. Good luck to everybody racing Muncie. We have a podcast preview if you're watching Muncie 70.3 preview. That's pretty good. One of our top downloaded podcasts. But I'll wish you well tomorrow as well. How's that? Good luck tonight, and then good luck tomorrow. In the future, I'll tell you that again. All right. Thanks for coming. And crushingiron@gmail.com is me, crushingiron.com, and the Crushing Iron podcast on iTunes. Please check it out. Thank you for stopping by.